Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and Siege is not getting an introduction because this son of a bitch, he's like, oh, before we start recording, I'm going to share that I have Xanadu stuck in my head, and guess what is now stuck in my head, Sejohn? That's right, you're the one that I want from Greece.
Yeah, it is.
No, he's Sejohn Sarawik, he's my host companion. Welcome to the Say Report. I have to remember how to do this, which is always fun. It has been a minute. I mean, first of all, we had to use our excused absence episode to, take the place of last week's episode. I got real sick, Siege, and do we want to start with just, I don't think I've ever been that sick before.
I'm glad to hear that you're better, I guess.
I'm glad to hear that there was actually something wrong with me. I know that might be kind of crazy, but it's the truth.
I get it. I totally understand that.
I'm on new medications and things like that. So there's always that fear that and I'm supposed to be on medication, but then the pharmacy was unable to fill it for 10 additional days. So I restarted it. Yeah, that's not. But yeah, and honestly, what I thought it was, I don't know what we're going to talk about this episode. This is going to be a fun, from the seat of our pants. But something I'd like to touch on is the Masters of the Universe movie. This last weekend, when it will remain relevant, because it looks like it's about to get dumped to Crumpet, based upon the earnings.
History repeats itself.
Which is crazy, right? It's insane that 39 years ago they did a movie about the Masters of the Universe, a movie that I really enjoy, and still just failure.
But I think that's we'll talk about it when we get there, because I think that history will continue to repeat itself in that regard. Keep going.
But what we did, first of all, there was a 9:45 showing of Masters of the Universe on the Friday it came out. I love an early morning movie. I have to say that. And I don't know, you're aware of the Denny's menu tie-in to Masters of the Universe? I don't know if you have Denny's out there in Utah, or if you just have a bunch of diners that are family-owned.
No. Yeah, no, well, not really. I think we've talked before about the concept of the Utah franchise, and about how, what they do, part of that math is they keep out other franchises. You don't see a lot of, you see McDonald's and things like that, but you don't see large chains of, sit-down restaurants, really. There's, a Chili's near me, and it is the saddest Chili's ever. They don't even they have a bar, but via old school Mormon rules, all of the liquor and the beer tabs and all taps and all that shit, they're all behind a wall. So you sit at a bar staring at a blank wall, tell the person what you want, they disappear for 5 minutes, come back with your drink, and then there's no atmosphere to it whatsoever. That's what chain restaurants are like in Utah.
So first of all, the idea of the saddest Chili's breaks my heart. Because let me tell you about Chili's. It's always sad. I can't think of a Chili's experience that hasn't been tinged with some sadness. So then to be
at least in the last 20 years, right? Because
I don't know, baby back ribs maybe.
20 years ago, Chili's and Fridays were the hip places for kids to go after a movie, or mom and dad could bring you, they'd sit at the bar while you guys all get to go to a table type thing.
Yeah.
I remember there was a hot moment for restaurants like this, and Chili's was one of those. Applebee's was the other big one, right? That we used to.
Yeah, I would also think about TGI Fridays. I'm going to get real Christian at the very special episode at the end of this month, but after Bible study, that's right, I went to Bible studies, we used to go to TGI Fridays, and that was always an experience.
Oh, yeah, man.
Gotta
get them Jack Daniels wings.
Let me tell you who hated that Bible study group. Every server at Fridays. And surprisingly, not because of anything that I did. What are we talking about? Oh, yeah. So the idea of the saddest Chili's is crazy. The other really crazy thing about what you just talked about is part of the bar experience is looking at alcohol, right? Like, I'm pretending that
or
I'm
even
having...
a TV,
Yeah,
anything. There's
that
like
is-
nothing.
Oh, man, that is wacky.
There's not even art.
wild.
It's just a gray wall. It's not even like they attempted to put something there for you to look. It's crazy. Yeah.
You know what?
It's like they don't. I mean, you know what it is. They don't want you to sit there. They
Right.
don't want
They
you
don't
to
want you to
enjoy
be
sitting
there.
at the bar. Yeah.
You know what it made me think of, though? Your talk about that is like, how does anyone in Utah learn how to like pull a beer? Along the same lines of people from New Jersey. And I gotta tell you, a lot of people could be disparaging of the state of New Jersey. Sejohn and I have had many New Jersey adventures that could turn both of us off of it. I'm not slagging people in New Jersey when I ask this question. People of New Jersey, do you know how to pump gas? And if you do, how?
Yeah, is that
how
still
do
a
you
thing?
It is still a
Like,
thing that you can't legally pump gas
Okay.
there. Only the people who
wild.
are working can do it. So I think about that. Like,
You
and
say that out here, and people are like flabbergasted because they're not so close to it that they run into it, right? And so when you mention that, it's like a weird fact out here.
I mean, it's so crazy to me because my very first job was as a pump jockey. Like, I worked at a gas station pumping gas. So there is like a finesse that I learned being taught by other people. Like, for the fact that, like, oh, when it tells you the tank is full, you could put $3 more worth of gas in there. And you need to remember, that was back before gas was like $4 a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they'd be like, oh, yeah, you could put like $2 more you could put $3 more in there. And that'd be like multiple gallons of gas after the shut-off pump popped. But it's like one of those
that's called
situations.
topping off, and you'll notice a lot of gas pumps these days say no topping
Not
off.
to do that. But you need to understand that at this gas station, they wanted us to top off because it meant more money in their pockets. Every job is a scam,
sure. Corporate greed
Sejohn.
will always win out over safety.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
But yeah, so back to what we were talking about, which is me being sick. We went to Denny's for breakfast because of the Denny's menu, which includes like a Skeletor Dark Side shake, which is a strawberry milkshake with real blueberries in it, topped with whipped cream and Pop Rocks. We got the Eternia Slams.
Just like Skeletor would drink.
Just like
my
Skeletor
buddy
drinks.
Skeletor would drink. Just like I would drink.
Yeah. Ha-ha! It's delicious and nutritious. Just like Skeletor loves fucking Pop Rocks, apparently. And then they had the Eternia.
I just imagine him standing up and being like, "No one in the kitchen washed their hands. Goodbye," and then run out the door. Like, thanks, Skeletor.
Remember, every bathroom in every diner in America has been masturbated in 3 times each day. Till next time. It's true, though. Don't use diner bathrooms. They're open 24 hours, and there are not customers 24 hours. Just what? How would you kill the time?
What other option did I have?
Like, gotta tell you, like, any diner bathroom, you ask yourself, I wonder how many times someone has masturbated in here. The answer is never gonna be 0. Never gonna be 0. What are we talking? Oh yeah, so then they have the Eternia Premium Grand Slam, which is your regular Grand Slam, eggs, hash browns. You get the bacon and the sausage, and you get 2 pancakes. Do you want to know what the pancakes are topped with, Sejohn?
Is it? I don't know, man. Is it? I was gonna say, like, is it Eternia, like Eternia milk or some shit? Like, what do they call it?
It is mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Oh,
On top of your pancakes.
okay.
And, like, I get it, waffle cones. Like, pancakes I've never considered as an ice cream delivery system. It works, but also, it's fucking heavy. Like, that was a heavy breakfast. And then they also have, like, the Gray Skull Jr. Graggle Cakes. I don't know why I said that, like, a la Skeletor. Which are silver dollar pancakes. We're not sponsored by Denny's. I just need you to know what I ate before seeing Masters of the Universe 2 Fridays ago. They're silver dollar pancakes. They're covered in, like, vanilla cream. Which, thinking of my whole masturbation bit from before, that was a stupid thing to order. And more Pop Rocks. And let me tell you something. I think I might start seasoning more foods with Pop Rocks. Not only does it add a delicious like ting when it hits, but like green apple and strawberry, they kind of worked. That's the crazy thing though. If you look at the Eternia menu at Denny's, it's all green Pop Rocks, which makes sense because green is like the evil energy that Skeletor wields with his Havoc staff. But they also had like red Pop Rocks. So my Skeletor Dark Universe...
I don't think that really justifies it, but keep going.
I don't know. But my Skeletor Dark Universe shake had green Pop Rocks on top. Dale's had red. That changes the complete flavor profile of what you're eating. I'm sorry. I have to be honest with you. I don't think Denny's test kitchen would like that you're mixing the Pop Rocks. They also have a burger with like barbecue brisket on it, but it was breakfast time. I didn't get a burger. And
barbecue cringer.
Yeah, it's I think it's just like the hero burger. I'm actually gonna look it up. Denny's He-Man menu, which is not the way to look it up, but what you're gonna do.
I mean, like,
it's the He-Man Battle Burger. Denny's cheeseburger empowered with bacon, shredded beef, and barbecue sauce, served with a side of fries. They're so proud of what I'm about to read. Served with a side of fries and a steak knife right through the top of the burger. Oh my god.
It's like how most places serve a burger these days. Like any
Dude, the other really crazy thing is that this photo that somebody shared on Instagram like 10 weeks ago, yeah, April 4th, it's clearly like the teaching, like how the servers can sell this stuff. So if someone orders a He-Man Battle Burger, one might consider a Skeletor's Dark Shake verse would go perfect with that. Would you like me to bring you one? Would you like a cold glass of milk or orange juice with that?
I mean, so to the point that you were making about how this movie's not doing well, right?
Yes.
What other marketing have they really done? Because like, I mean, not having Denny's around me, that shit didn't hit me. I hadn't seen much marketing for it. I actually thought this movie had come out 2 weeks prior.
I remember. That's why I bought you the action figures I bought you. Because you're like, you mean that movie's not out yet? Good, I'm excited to see it. The real issue with so Walmart did an inaugural Chronicles figure for their like $25 line of adult deluxe articulation action figures that released in February of Scareglow. Like, you know, the Subternia ruler, who like kind of just looks like Skeletor, but his skull is on fire and his bones are exposed. Like he glue in the dark. He was a fun toy as a kid. Like that released in February. By the time the movie came out, it's sold out everywhere, going for 3 times the price on Walmart's own website through third-party sellers. So
wow.
The crappiest part about Masters of the Universe is that they did this huge marketing blitz like 3 months before the movie came out. Like they
did the movie get pushed back
waited.
Or something?
I don't think so. It got pushed back because of Mandalorian and Grogu, but like it didn't get pushed back 3 months. It got pushed back 1 week because like
wild
Disney was all, we have the exclusive IMAX distribution rights for Mandalorian Grogu for these 2 weekends. Like Disney paid big money for that. So rather than release, like they delayed it 1 week so they could still take advantage of the first week of June as a release time. But then the next week they're like, oh, then we'll roll into IMAX and we'll only have to do 1 week of that stuff. I don't think that happened. I have to be honest with you. I got to see it in laser projection. But the whole fact of the matter is that I ate my breakfast. I ended up having to have 2 helpings of Tums before the movie started because of just how heavy I was before the movie. Watched the movie, enjoyed the film. Have you gotten a chance to see the film yet?
I
If not, it's
I have not.
understandable.
No, no,
You
no,
thought
no.
it came
I'm
out 2
about
weeks ago.
no. I'm trying to figure out. I was about to like incriminate myself, so never mind. But no, I
Smart.
have not seen
Smart
it
guy.
yet.
That's good. That's okay. Saw the film, enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for like reasons. I understand why it didn't perform, is what I will say. And I'm not one of these people that like I have not gotten to dip my face into the red water about the Masters of the Universe film. I'm kind of excited to do it once I get back. But I then went to work, right? Like after seeing the movie in the morning, I had worked from home until the movie. The movie was essentially my lunch break for the day, all my breaks for the day, which is great. It was nice that I could do it. Went to work and just felt ill. Like, did not feel good at all. Ended up taking the rest of the day out sick. And then Saturday, I ate no food. And I was convinced that I had gotten food poisoning from Denny's. You know, like you do. Like...
as it goes, right?
As it goes. I'm no longer like a kid in his teens. So Denny's, when you're 40 years old, stop fucking eating at Denny's. Like, I guess that's the PSA of this episode.
I mean, to add to that, also probably stop eating Pop Rocks. Eating packets upon packets of Pop Rocks in your 40s is also a recipe for disaster.
I will be honest, I have had
I'm
no
not saying
Pop
that
Rocks
that's the
since
only thing, but it probably didn't help.
Yeah, the Pop Rocks certainly exacerbated the situation. It wasn't a situation where
and everything.
he likes it. Hey, Mike, probably shouldn't have been like eating Pop Rocks and drinking full cans of full fat Coke, right? Blowing up my stomach.
Green Day taught us anything, yeah.
But yeah, so I was like very, very ill. And I was so ill that I ended up not getting to go on the vacation that I had planned, that we had recorded the Stupids episode to cover for.
Oh, that stupid episode.
No,
what?
I like that Stupids episode a lot. I really had fun with that one. But the episode that we recorded as our excused absence...
Dude, like, next time we do a Tom Arnold movie, by the way, with part of the trilogy, like I'm not saying we need to do this one because it wasn't in '94, but I found one of his later films with it under the National Lampoon banner, and we have got to take a look at it.
Oh, I can't wait! I cannot. Once we're done with the trilogy, I mean, we got some, production stuff to discuss after this episode. So we'll get there. We'll definitely discuss it. I know I'm enjoying the Tom Arnold of it all, though. I really am. I wish I were kidding. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So I was just ill, like just super ill. And then I finally got to go. Here's the thing that fucking sucks about Coventry, Rhode Island right now. We have one urgent care in town and it's closed on the weekend. So like, I could have gone on that Saturday if they were open. I don't want to go to an emergency room for like, I have a tummy ache. But when that tummy ache lingers until the Monday after it started, like you're just like unable, like I woke up Sunday morning feeling like pretty okay. Then I had a slice of pizza and wanted to murder myself. It was just like awful. I just felt awful, CJ. And, yeah, it was bad. So I go to I like call my primary care physician to see if I can get an appointment. And they're like, no, but are you willing to go to urgent care? And I'm like, I would have loved to go to urgent care. You're not open until Mondays. So I'll head there right now. And then the woman on the phone, she's like, are you sure you're okay with it? And I'm like, I would have gone on Saturday if you were open on Saturday. Please stop trying to get me to do the thing I'm going to do. I don't want to be frustrated, but you're starting to frustrate me just a little bit. Plus, I'm sick, right? So you know that, like, your patience is already wearing thin at that point. And I go in, and the doctor's like, oh, it's a good thing you didn't go on that trip. You have a stomach virus. And, like, that felt good. Because, like, I don't want to slag off Denny's. No, we have kind of been slandering Denny's for the last 20 minutes of this episode, for whatever that means.
I don't think they're going to take that big of a hit, but anyway.
Look, they're not Perkins and the whole Tiger Woods scandal. I will say that. Like, straight up, find me a Perkins anymore. They used to be the Denny's of the South, And I know Waffle House exists, but Perkins used to be the Denny's of the South, and they were better because they had like the pecan log.
Nice. I wouldn't put Waffle House in the same category as Denny's. I'd put it in the same category as like a back alley bodega in New York.
I would put it in the same category as the 1990 film Fight Club.
Yeah. I feel like if you walked into Waffle House and said the right words, you might accidentally buy weed.
And nothing accidental about it, man. I love Waffle House humor too. Like Waffle House is the place you go when you are high. That's why they have pictures of the food on the menu, so you could be like, "This, please. This is what I want to destroy my body with."
Well, and the words that they use are like the words that you want to use when you're drunk, right? Is just like smother that shit.
I want it smothered and I want it covered. I don't want it. I think smothered is onions, right? I don't like the onion one. Covered is with cheese. Are you familiar with Waffle House Records?
I'm sorry. Are you about to talk to me about a music studio produced by Waffle House?
Waffle House, like, they have the little jukeboxes in the Waffle Houses. Right. But rather than pay licensing, they record parodies of popular songs.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. All right, pinning this for next week. We're gonna listen to some Waffle House music over the next week and talk about it. Because
I mean, because I was drunk or high every time.
Yeah, every time you went.
Say, how did I never notice?
How have I never known about the hit Waffle House song? Yeah, it's crazy. It's a legit like mind freak, and we will talk about it next time. But yeah, like Perkins, they used to be the Denny's of the South. They had like bakeries in them. God, Perkins were great. But it turns out that like when Tiger Woods got caught cheating with a bunch of people, they were all like Perkins waitresses. So like Tiger Woods would like stop off at a Perkins for a pecan roll and a little goody goody. You know what? Maybe in a Perkins you go into the bathroom, there's less masturbation residue. There's more sex residue though. And I don't know which one is better. Oh my goodness. So I was sick.
I don't know which one is more sad.
Yeah. I mean, Tiger Woods is not involved in any Denny's scandals that I know of. So, like, I don't know. Poor Tiger Woods. History repeats itself. Jeez. Yeah. So I was sick, and that's just like the big thing. So that's why the stupid's already happened. That's why you're getting a newly recorded episode now. And that is why I have to remember how to record a podcast. Because
I also think that it's good that we're doing this, because I'm pretty sure at the beginning of that episode, we expecting it to come out this week, made some comments. So we probably sound like idiots.
Yeah, that's very true. We did say that like, oh, debba debba do, and we didn't do any of those debba debbas or do's. Oh man. So that's it. And I did some other stuff that we could talk about, but I've been talking for pretty much the first 25 minutes of the show. Sejohn, how you been? What you put up to, guy?
Well, there's been a lot here and there, but last night everything left my brain because I started having this very deep rabbit hole of thought as I was watching. Okay, so I was watching on YouTube. I was watching some of the AI stuff that's been going on with a company called Good AI. It's tangentially related to Markiplier, Mark Fishbach, in that it's a recording partner of his and their wife, and then Mark is investing in it to start an AI company that is intentionally not using large language models to learn, but instead some other type of model, something referred to as a Gaussian model. And essentially it uses statistics rather than example to build. So like they don't have to use nearly as much work to train it. It can credit the work that it's trained on. Like it can say, I used this, this, and this to create that. Like it can pick out specifics. On top of that, it is like 90% 5% more effective, meaning that less energy is needed.
Wow.
Like crazy
Okay.
shit like this, right? Like this is, and you know, a lot of it is theoretical right now, but that's the point, is like they're trying to move into this, right? They're trying to move into this theory. They want to see if it's possible, and in theory it should be. The thing is that this method will take time to properly develop, mostly because there's not a bunch of billionaires behind it, but like in overall, a lot more work has been put into the current model of AI generation, right? Buried in that, though, was this whole conversation about one of the biggest issues with current AI, and that is that it produces slop. Like, just the technical term of slop, of just like basically garbage that we all know is garbage, that is just kind of thrown out there because right now it's the thing that everybody else is kind of into. So like basically the AI follows trends, is what they were talking about, is like right now this is really popular. Like remember when everybody was doing Studio Ghibli stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
that started to like kind of bleed into some of the other art that was coming out. And you know, now people have stopped looking for that less, so it's moved away from that because it's learned to move away from that. So like there's this whole thing going on where it just follows the slop, essentially, right?
Okay.
And there's another, and it just made me kind of think about like, because they started talking about the idea of like why it's doing this, and I started thinking about the idea of how this is affecting consumers, right? Because if this is the kind of thing that they are accepting, because they're saying like, oh, now I don't have to pay for a TV show, I can have AI create an episode for me. And yeah, I know it's slop, but I'm okay with it, right? That acceptance of slop. And the thing is that we live in fucking generation slop. Like, look at everything going on when we talk about gaming. We talk about the idea of like there being a new genre of streaming stuff that comes out that people hook onto, and if you're not streaming this game, then you're not part of it. But what you're producing is basically slop. You're not adding anything to the conversation. It's art with no real meaning or effort or
Yeah.
intention behind it, right? It's just there to exist in the moment, because right now this is just the moment for it to exist, which is like the least that a thing needs to be to exist in the world, right? To matter in the world.
I
And so
I
like,
don't want to interrupt. This is brilliant, but that just reminds me of the guy who's like, "So I want my YouTube channel to go up. I see you play a lot of Vampire Survivors. You want to do some Vampire Survivors content for me? Cause it's real big right now." And like, shut up. Like, first of all,
and
what like
you know,
what
and it's
you're-
not that you can't, have that conversation and produce something meaningful. I don't doubt for a second that you specifically doing some Vampire Survivors content, talking about the game, talking about the way that it's grown, how to play it, stuff like that, I'd be super into that. That would be meaningful and content that moves the needle, right?
Yeah.
But what I don't want to see is just 6 guys that he hires to play Vampire Survivors once a week. It's like, great, this is the same thing every night, and nobody's making any commentary, nobody's doing any deconstruct. Like, this
Yeah.
is doing nothing. This is showing me the game that I already play.
Exactly. But also, like, he was just gonna use my content to grow his channel. I would get nothing from it. Like, it's not, he didn't even like try to be like exposure. He's just that like, I don't really care for the game, but people are hungry for the content. Produce this content for me so that I can reap the benefits. And it's like,
Well, especially nowadays
No.
on YouTube,
Like,
I'm so glad that we don't do more, like, we don't do real video content for that, because what they've been doing is Google has basically openly admitted to every creator on YouTube that, yeah, you've been scanned into our system. It's too late.
yep.
Like, your likeness and your style have all been added to our system. Sorry, you don't get it. You don't really get to argue because you're doing it on our platform.
What do you think those 4 gigs of AI that Chrome installs without you knowing about is doing? Is stealing
Yeah,
every
crazy.
YouTuber's likeness.
Right.
Allegedly.
But
I don't want to get sued
we've
by
allowed
Google.
this to happen because of the ways in which we have just learned to be content with slop. Like, and I think back to like the Wii, like, and I'm sure it goes back even further than that, but I remember there being this huge blow up in the Wii later in its life where it had basically slopware, where it would be like, oh, here's a clock but with red letters or red numbers, here's a clock but with blue letter numbers. My clocks with letters on them, but there's this like, there was just this whole push to just like anybody could make like a 99-cent app and make some money on the Wii shop, right? So they threw that shit out there and we got a lot of really shitty stuff to the point where Nintendo actually had to, after the 3DS shop got so full of shit so fast, actually had to come in and like put their foot down about what was going to be allowed. They had been so open to letting people just put up whatever, as long as, you know, as long as it wasn't like inappropriate content by their standards, then they were fine with it. So like you could make a dozen different clock apps. And then at some point, somebody looking for just a clock app, for whatever reason, they'd be looking for it on their Wii, and they see one of your 12 that's up there, then like you have 12, you know, you've got 12 chances to make a buck. And it really led to a lot of like shitty games, shitty apps, even, because things like the clock app would turn around and turn out to be like also monitoring everything you were doing on your Wii, like, so shitty behavior in that regard as well. And like, so there was just a lot of danger in that, and it didn't stop anybody. People were still spending money on that stuff, but years past the Wii's life, when the Wii U had come out already, and then we had all gone back to the Wii for a little bit, and then the Switch came out, and like there was just this ongoing life of just bullshit on the Wii. And this is what this made me think of, is that like people will buy it if they're happy with it. We have learned to just be okay with that. And we've raised an entire generation of kids on just being okay with the same TV show with just a new coat of paint. And I don't mean that in the same regard as like, oh, Friends is just coupling, but like literally just taking like, okay, you like Big Bang Theory, so let's make Young Sheldon. Let's make, and then you liked Young Sheldon, so let's make Mandy and whatever's, like, right,
Georgie and
like
Mandy's
this
first
rabbit
marriage.
hole of this rabbit hole of, we know you like this thing, so let's keep peeling away anything interesting about it and get down to the core of the thing that you really will always come back for at the cheapest we can make it. That is the entire motivation. How can we get you to keep coming back, and how cheaply can we get you to keep coming back? How cheaply can we produce that thing, right? And like, it's just it's the way that everything works now. It's the way that everything is geared towards us as fans, as, you know, as geeks, as nerds, as consumers, as whatever you want to call us. Like, we are a pool of people looking to consume and aren't really taking any time to quality check any of it these days.
I mean, and yes, we can look at content as a thing that they're doing that with, but honestly, that's the American economy, right? We don't demand quality in any of the goods anymore. Obsolescence
And then we're all
is the
surprised about
brand now.
enshittification.
Yeah. Like it really is this thing of like nothing lasts forever because disposable things are what make us money. Creating a laundry machine, a washer dryer in the 70s that will last for 100 years means that Maytag only gets paid once. But you get a washing machine that will be dead within 4 years. Maytag gets paid every 4 years, man. Just like the Olympics or the World Cup. And it's fucking gross. And it's,
you know, there's like a
all
whole
over.
like just to kind of add fuel to the fire here, not really much to the conversation, but the anger. There's, you know, we talk about there being like tiers of lifestyle in this world, right? And there is a tier at which you can still buy stuff like that, but you know, it costs $4,000 for that washer dryer. Who the fuck is going to spend $4,000 on that right now, right? It's the old Terry Pratchett, Sam Vine boots theory, right? Like you're going to end up buying 10 shitty washing machines in the time that somebody buying a really nice washing machine really needs to buy another one, but you just don't have the money at the time. It just keeps you down. The system just keeps you fucking down.
And then the worst thing is that the type of person who can afford the $4,000 washing machine right now. And let's be honest, like it's more than $4,000. We are basing that off of like 90s price ideals in our brains. It's probably like $40,000 because they're not cheap. Appliances aren't
I mean,
cheap,
that's true.
right?
No,
like
yeah.
it is. But the type of person who can shell out for a high-end washer dryer that the intention is to last for the rest of their life so that they never need to think about buying another washer and dryer again, are also the type of people who will buy a new washer and dryer for the same price in a year because of some new feature. So they're really
Right.
fucking us
Yeah.
at the
Well, this
top of the
one's
pile
Wi-Fi
and the
connected
bottom. What was that?
This one's Wi-Fi connected now. It scans my clothes. It knows where I've been, and it tells me how the best way to get those stains out.
Right? It
It
separates
also
in the
uploads all this
actual
information to Jeff Bezos, but
so that it can recommend me new clothes when they're starting to get threadbare. Also, within the tumbling like column, it can separate my whites from my colors. And all it cost me
also
was
there's a dog wash function.
Right, yeah, and I gotta get the new one because the new dog wash function is for larger dogs, like my little Giuseppe.
Oh, little Giuseppe.
And he's a Saint Bernard. It's funny to give a big dog a little guy name. Oh man, but it really is just. I wasn't expecting to attack the economy, but it's so true. Like as I look at things, I don't freaking know.
We have a president that got to where he was by using slop tactics. He used memes. He used AI. He's used fucking Twitter to its own demise. Like we live in a world in which that is what won one of the highest, if not the highest, seats in the land. Right? Mm-hmm. Like it's what have we taught like the youngest kids right now after 12 years of Trump and 2 or 3 more still to go if God willing, I hope it's only that rise, because God knows he won't shut up once he leaves, right?
I don't want to cast more shadow onto what might be the darkest episode of the Say Report. We got like fun stuff coming. I can tell you that as like a promise. We got like the summer soundtrack is coming. Right? That's exciting. We're looking at X-Men The Last Stand, which, like, your mileage will vary on the 3rd X-Men movie. We got fun stuff coming. I think we're just letting the
I did also see
flow.
Scary Movie 6. Like, there's also that.
Yeah. Like, there's some... I still felt like garbage. Like, I didn't trust myself to go see a movie last week. I watched the Matilda musical on Netflix.
Nice,
that was
man.
my movie.
I actually really
week.
enjoy that.
Did you see it?
Yeah, the Netflix one. Yeah,
it's really good. I did not think it was going to be as good as it was. I think the show itself is still kind of a mess, but I enjoyed my time with the movie. They just introduce characters who then disappear until they come back, and it's like this person was supposed to be important, and I'm like, were they? Were they supposed to be important? Or did you just oh, that's right, we had the prefix sing the cool alphabet song. Maybe we bring the prefix back for the finale song.
Oh, man.
What were we talking about? Oh, we're talking about... Yeah, so this is a dark episode of this. We're letting a little bit of it out. And while we're letting out a little bit of darkness, Sejohn, I, right now, cannot envision a world where Donald Trump is not our president. And that is fucking terrifying to admit into a microphone.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we really want to get into personal politics. Like the 4 years of Biden just felt like it was still Trump being president, but like more people standing in his way was basically all it was. And that's not me making a commentary on Joe Biden as a person. That's not me making, even as a president. There was some shit that man did that we're just never going to talk about because it's been overshadowed by the fact that all that 4 years, Trump never shut up about how the election was stolen. He had people riled up. He turned everybody against just, America and somehow made it sound like that was the American thing to do, which is just the most fucked up dark shit you can think of. It's been crazy. But we only got here because we started kind of just being okay with more and more and more bullshit. And we've slippery sloped our way all the way into the madness that we're in today. And this is not me advocating for those assholes on YouTube that will do 7-hour videos about why a movie sucks. I'm not saying we need to criticize every little thing and we need to call out bullshit left, right, and center. It's just that what we need to understand is that we can't let people benefit from the bullshit. Enjoying slop is fine. And if you want to spend 99 cents on a clock app that's going to watch everything you do on your Wii, like, I'm not saying don't do that, but like, everything in moderation, everything in consideration. Be an informed consumer. Realize what you're doing is this, and maybe try and mitigate that in whatever way works for you, right? I don't think there's a universal way to tell people to stop kind of like supporting shit, right? Like, just to keep it focused, like AI, right? I don't think that there's an easy answer that everybody in the world is going to be happy with what can and should or couldn't or shouldn't be used in AI, right? Like, I think that that's going to be that cat is out of the bag, right? You know, any other metaphor you want to use. Pandora's box
Can't
has
put
been
the
open. Like,
toothpaste back
we
in the
are that.
tube. I think the
Yeah, you
toothpaste
can't put
was
the
my
toothpaste back in the
favorite.
tube, right? Like we have that is out there now, right? It's never going to go away. And so how do we then work with it being out there, and what can we do to say, like, yeah, this is cute, but like, I'm not going to spend money on this. Like, I think calling out, when like a movie uses AI on its posters, that is a fair thing to point out, like, right? Like, we know that there are literally specific artists in this country that they could go to instead to make that thing, and they chose AI. That sucks, right? Like, that's not cool. But if fucking Tom from accounting wants to use AI to help him put together a slideshow for the big presentation, I'm not going to sit here and tell him he can't do that because it doesn't sound ethical to me. like, right? Like, so finding that middle ground of like, where can we see it and what can we see it? And again, I don't think there's ever going to be a solid answer for that, but we've got to start having that conversation, and we've got to start putting some real thought into how we're going to have that conversation going forward.
I mean, it's John Henry, right? Like, that's the other thing. Like,
Yeah, man.
like we have these tools that can make life easier, but the most important thing, and what we're forgetting, what this whole discussion is about, is us completely forgetting and neglecting the fact that, like, we need to use these tools responsibly, right? Tools should assist humanity, not replace humanity. Think of like vibe coding, right? Like the idea of like, I'm gonna tell a large language model to write code for me, and then what needs to be done, the responsible thing to do, is to go through that code and check that code, not just then immediately launch that code trusting that the AI did it right. The AI helped you by like giving you a jumping off point. You then have to be responsible, but like it's a super slippery slope, like you said.
I found myself really, really holding back in a conversation on a certain subreddit the other day for a particular type of video game that doesn't get releases as often as some people would like, and a lot of that community has taken to well, it was the natural progression. There was a lot of modding going on in the community for this rather large RPG, and the idea was that there was a lot of people that were making new content on their own and free and giving it out to people and all that sort of good stuff. And that feels really good, right? But that has evolved into a lot of people using AI to try and do that, right? To the point where this person had, according to them, I did not test any of this, so I don't know how true any of this is or how accurate any of it is, but according to them, they had, in their words, vibe coded an entire sequel within the franchise. And everybody was just like, oh, let's play it. And they posted like files for it, and supposedly people in this conversation were playing it, and I could not get a read on like how bad it was. Like, people were they were so quick to try and defend it, to talk about how it's really cool that it figured out how to do this. It's really cool that it figured out how to do that. It's really cool. But nobody could say that the game actually worked. Everybody was just like, so for all I know, it was just like, it created a room for you to like walk around and talk to NPC, and that's it, right? Like, but people were just like, yeah, it's really interesting that it figured out how to make this dialogue tree in this fashion and work for this character and that. And it's just like, this is terrifying, because this person is basically admitting that they basically took all of the asset files that have been floating around in this community for years, that people have been using to legitimately try and mod and working on and in a lot of cases fixing things for this game. They took all of that, fed it into a machine that now has all that information for life. Thanks a lot, asshole. Like, and they popped out something that they consider good enough to then post to the world and call a sequel. And people in the comments aren't doing anything to alleviate them of that assumption.
It's man. I don't know. I just don't understand. Like, the
It
world
was
is
Fallout for anybody that
thank you. I appreciate you saying it, but like,
I realized I was vague posting and I don't need to be. Like, I don't need to protect these people. It was in the Fallout subreddit recently. They were talking about making a whole new Fallout sequel, and they had loaded in a bunch of, specifically I think New Vegas was the game that they had based it off of, because nobody in the Fallout subreddits cares to ever admit that Fallout 4 was better built. Maybe not better story, but definitely better built.
I mean, Fallout 4 is the only one that I've actually spent any time with. I eventually did not have fun and stopped playing, but I did play it, and that...
Do you know what's actually legitimately good these days? And this is not me saying go play it. They don't deserve to get credit. Yeah, Fallout 76 has actually really gotten its act together and become one hell of a little game. Like, I'd pop in there single player. Like, I don't even bother with the multi stuff. It's cool that there's people around, and like, I've definitely interacted with that, but like, it is so modular for, like, if you just want to do it on your own, you totally can. So it's basically just another Fallout game for me now, and like, that, I can't believe how much they've gotten their act together on that. But yeah, like, people just still not happy with that, right? They're not happy with 76. They're not happy with the way Fallout 4 happened. They want New Vegas 2. So like, they're going out there and doing all this bullshit, and then they have the nerve to like tell the world how, hey, we took all of this shit that you guys have been doing for the last 10 years and shoved it into a machine to do something not even a tenth as good as your shit, but aren't I good enough? Like, no.
I don't know. It's so, like, that's such a crazy thing. Like, creator content that is, like Super Mario World ROM hacks, right? From the hardest Kaizo to the simplest, like, standard hack that is just new levels. That is such an insane, like, world. And one of the big things that's been happening this year is someone developed a utility to essentially turn it into endless mode from Mario Maker, where you can load in a bunch of IPS files into, I think they call them mixtapes. I was trying to find like more information on it, but like, it goes up and then it comes down because people feel like you're kind of stealing my work in a lot of ways. Like, I put this game together, like the people who make the Kaizo ROM hacks, a lot of them are made like with a specific difficulty curve, where like, all right, you start this and then you learn this and then you have to use that in the next level, you know, like additive gameplay and things like that. So then playing it in a random order with other people's work, like, that makes people feel some sort of way. And I don't disagree with them on that, right? Like, it is taking someone's work and repurposing it in a way that, like, the original one did not give credit to who the levels were. So if I put one of these together and then sent it to you, you would have no idea who created each level and what put them together.
Yeah. That sucks, but I do find it funny a modder getting pissed about getting their own shit modded. It's like, too bad, buddy. That's how the game is played.
Yeah, you entered into this weird contract by working in the gray. Like all the decomps of N64 games, which I'm like, fingers crossed for when Diddy Kong Racing gets one. I would love to play Diddy Kong Racing in 60 FPS. I'm just going to say that. And I know they're working on it, but like that whole situation, like, that could break bad. Like, Ship of Arcinian, right? Let's talk about Ship of Arcinian. Let's talk about Starship Centauri. Like, those are decomp sort of mods for Ocarina of Time and Star Fox 64. What's going to happen when Nintendo has their own version of Star Fox 64 and Ocarina of Time released this year? What's going to happen to those? Like, cease and desist would be the smartest thing for them to do. Like, why would I let people play these things for free?
By law, right?
Like,
right. No, not to, this is not me defending like shitty business laws that exist, but they do exist. And one of the things is that they need to defend their copyright at all time. They can't just say, oh, this is a little one, we'll let you get away with it, because like that can then be used later on to prove that, hey, they don't really need this thing. Right. And like it's a shitty way that all works, but
Yeah, it's a dangerous precedent.
to be fair, but I also think Nintendo is happy to do it. Like this is not me saying, oh, their hands are tied by the law. Like they are more than happy to shut down every little thing, right?
Nintendo doesn't come to you plumber's hat in hand like, I'm so sorry that I gotta tell you to stop making your Zelda game. No, they come in like a wrecking ball, like we're gonna take this down.
And then when you say, hey, this isn't right,
yeah,
they go, well, the law's on my side, so it must be right.
Right.
It's like, no, that's not always true.
or they like, we're gonna fight you on this, right? We're gonna fight the cease and desist because this is fair use. Nintendo has the money to continue to fight that battle. That most people who are just like modding games, they're not doing it for any sort of profit. In fact, if you do it for profit, that's where Nintendo gets like a bigger weapon to wield against you. All of these,
I think the moral of my whole thing here is that like we live in the world of Generation Slop, and we got here because we took so many regulations off of large business. This is, I feel like, the natural place for capitalism to find itself eventually. And like we're at a point where we can still, I think, pull back. This is the hopeful side of me saying like we're in a position to still say no before we have the franchise wars or whatever the fuck it was from
Demolition Man. The problem is Taco Bell fucking wins. So like it's hard for me to be like too upset about like the franchise wars because like I like Taco Bell.
It's Taco Bell here, right? Isn't it Pizza Hut?
Yeah, it's Pizza Hut internationally. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Don't throw me into the briars, Sejohn. Like neither one of those is a problem for me. I, for one, welcome our new Yum Brands overlords, be it Taco Bell or Pizza Hut.
Just don't make me drink Pepsi.
You have to. That is the See, that's the secret dirty part about Demolition Man is that like Coca-Cola cannot exist in a world where Taco Bell wins the franchise war.
Yeah.
That's just the rule. Also, this seems like a good time to stop for station identification.
We would definitely but
I'm drinking a Taco Bell Baja Blast. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh.
What do you say?
Oh, you're drinking. Well, you just threw a wrench in it. I was like, I think we would be part of the Coca-Cola rebellion, but now you're sitting there drinking the enemy's product. So,
I mean, that's like the thing is that yes, I'd fight for Coca-Cola. Most people would fight for Coca-Cola. Like it is also absurd to think that like a Pepsi-allied company would come out the victor of the franchise wars. Because you go to a place, you order a Coke, and they're like, is Pepsi okay? I have never once in my life, now I'm just doing 90s stand-up bits, I'm sorry, but I have never once in my life...
if we really want to get serious for a second, there are literal wars that Coke and Pepsi have both funded, so like, if we understand, there are actual like times this has literally happened, maybe not against each other, not like they paid two armies to go figure out who the best soda was, but like, I know for a fact that Coca-Cola has gotten itself involved in a few different political disputes, shall we say.
If you told me Coca-Cola bankrolled the Confederacy, I would have no choice but to believe you. With their headquarters being in Georgia. Rock and Roll Cola Wars.
Consider what their bread and butter is in a lot of, as far as their ingredients goes. The coca plant is definitely one that has a rich history of violence around it.
We almost called Iran-Contra the Coca-Cola Wars, but then someone was like, no, that's bad branding. Then we tied with the RC Cola Wars before settling on Iran-Contra. Thanks, Ollie North. What are we talking about?
Presented by Moxie.
Fucking, I hate Moxie. Can I just say that? You're going to invoke Moxie? I'm going to say how much I hate Moxie. Anybody out there who's like, I want to try Moxie? Fucking don't. Just like,
Motor oil in the belly,
Hold,
Moxie. That's what that is.
keep your innocence for as long as possible. Don't drink Moxie. Oh, man. So you saw Scary Movie 6. I want to see it. I do want to see the film. So I don't like. Did you enjoy it? Like, can I get like a spoiler-free sort of run through on your time with it? Like,
You should see it because it's the kind of movie that knows what it is,
good.
which we very much are very big fans of. Like use it, whether that's good or not, for good or for ill, right? Like it is a movie that knows exactly what it is, and it is not afraid to just say, "Yep, this is who we are." And there is a cathartic ending to the film that kind of makes up for the blandness of the rest of the movie.
Okay,
Like
that tracks. I get that.
I think that you definitely need to see it,
Okay.
right? And so anybody out there that feels like they're pretty in line with Devon's sensibilities, take that for you as well. But like you definitely, Devon, need to go see this movie. I don't think you'd be disappointed if you paid to see it. I also don't think you'd be disappointed if you waited. So it's really up to you. But I don't think you'd be mad either way.
So it depends on, like, right now there are so many movies in theaters that I want to see. One of which is not Disclosure Day. I don't care about Disclosure Day at all. I don't know why. Like,
But it feels like such a Spielberg like passion project, which considering his last couple of movies have been kind of meh for me because they didn't feel like I don't know. He says he really likes West Side Story, but like it just didn't seem like that his heart was in it. But
that
that's
seems like
a
a
me
fucking
like
lie.
thing, right?
I don't think anybody liked West Side Story. Like, straight up, I feel like nobody like that movie. You're like, I thought Masters of the Universe already came out. I'm like, I thought West Side Story got canceled. That was still a movie that happened.
Didn't he win an award for it?
I think he did. I think it won some sort of award. I don't like it's, but it's one of those things that is just such a blank spot in my mind. And then I think about some of the things that it wrought, like the terror of Rachel Zegler and the Snow White issues from last year. Like,
Well, and then everything that happened with Ansel Elgort on it,
Yeah.
right? Like, and all of the stuff that came out about him and stuff. It was not a great experience to go see that movie or think about that movie. Like I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to sit here and shit on it because, like, at the end of the day, it was award winning. A lot of people have said that it's actually like a really beautiful film, as in terms of like the direction, the art direction, and Spielberg's directing.
yeah.
And so to the point being that this one feels like such a good like back to Spielberg movie, no?
I mean, yes, but also, I don't know. Like, the alien of it, he's such a, like, Close Encounters, E.T. Like, I get it. I understand it. But, it's just kind of, like, a little difficult for me to be excited about it. Like, I see the trailers and I'm like, I don't know. Did you see the Fablemans?
I mean, here's the thing.
I should watch the Fablemans, too. Like, everybody's all
go.
about that movie.
Yeah.
Like,
I was just about to say, I think that Spielberg may be past his action movie blockbuster. I think Super 8 might have been like a really nice kind of almost coda, not even end, but rather like a last like little, conversation to just throw in there just to be like, hey, remember when I used to make these kinds of movies? But I think that he has probably moved past this big blockbuster action style movie. And this is not to say that I think that he can't make them. I think he is just much better now these days about making the much smaller films. The Fablemans being a perfect example.
what was your movie that was the Super 8? And he's not even
Super
a
8, yeah.
director on that movie.
He produced it. Didn't
He's
he
a
produce
producer.
it?
He's definitely a producer on it.
Yeah, no,
but
no.
I was like trying to think of
that movie. I mean,
Yeah.
he was a producer on it, and very much at the time was being he was the artistic vision that people were comparing that movie to,
Yes,
talking about
very
like
true.
this feels like watching E.T. for the first time, that kind of thing, right? Like he was definitely inspiration and there for it. So but that's what I mean is he wasn't even like director or writer on that one. He just kind of touched that one, and that's really kind of the last time I think he really hit with one of those really big movies for me.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point because, like, looking at his filmography as a director, the last one that I would look at as, like, yes, fucking yes, would be Bridge of Spies. Bridge of Spies was such
Bridge of
a
Spies is
breath of fresh
fantastic.
air. Like, I'm just like,
Yeah.
holy crap, what a great movie. And then even that was followed by, like, the BFG, which I don't want to get, like, too roll dolly in this whole thing, but, like, the BFG was surprisingly good as well. Like, that
But
as a
I
1-2
don't think about that as like
punch.
a giant. I don't think about that as like a giant epic, like over the top
No.
ensemble action. Right? It is a much more personable fairy tale style story.
Yeah.
Even in some ways, if you look at Bridge of Spies, there's something really interesting about that because while it is that larger film, like a larger, sorry, setting for a film, it is a very personable story,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Tom Hanks is, I mean, the rare Tom Hanks F word. I love that shit.
And Bridge of Spies would technically be the Oscar bait film coming out in October. That one was trying to win awards. Where, like, the BFG,
Yep.
the reason I bring up the BFG, I think that was like May. I'm just confirming. It was July
Probably.
1st. So that was very much trying to be a summer blockbuster film. And, like, Mark Rylance is the only reason that I went to see the BFG because of how good he was in Bridge of Spies. Like, God, Bridge of Spies is such a good fucking movie. But then, what, Ready Player One was something else.
It was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
I mean, considering right the promise of, and it just didn't really live up to it. I think if any other director had put that movie out at the level that it is, like not saying anything changes in the movie, but it was just a different person, I think people would be looking at that movie much more favorably. I think that it ended up getting really kind of let down by the promise of Steven Spielberg being the director of it.
Yeah. Also, I know it's not where Slop started, but there was a lot of slop in that movie too. Like the idea of like, if we just show these people things that they like, we'll make $1 billion.
Space Jam.
Yep. I think those are the only like real big examples, right? Has there been another one of those recently? Like even Free Guy had like some restraint in terms of that, which was kind of refreshing. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, yeah, kind of. Like what we're talking about is like when I think about current slopware, what is really big right now is um referential to the point where there's no meaning within it, right? Like I think there's a point like like look at like current Family Guy versus old Family Guy, right? Like I think that would be the a good comparison there. I mean, even I've been watching a lot of Simpsons lately, old Simpsons versus new Simpsons. Simpsons does a ton of cutaway joke and like and all sorts of weird shit now that like the old episodes just never did. But there's so in a weird way, like Scary Movie 6 captures that, but again, it is saved in the final moments of the movie when they kind of tie it all together in an important way. So like it's a really interesting look at that. But you know, look at any basic horror movie coming out these days. Like there's so many teen ones that come out that are just like cursed object, kids don't understand it, play with it, everybody's dead. Like that is just the formula. And like formulaic horror movies have never been a bad thing. The problem is now you're not seeing any of these like with any real meaning behind them, no real depth behind them. You know, it's what makes A24 or Blumhouse when they make something, it's special because yes, they are capturing something that's big at the moment, but they are putting an artistic effort behind it that makes it worth remembering, worth talking about, worth holding on to. And there's just so many people that are just happy to stop at the whole, I'm going to make a thing that's popular right now. There's not that many people that want to go that extra mile and say, I want to do something that's popular right now, but I want to add to the conversation, right?
Yeah, it's
What
true.
made the Backrooms movie work for me so well? I saw that too.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Like the whole reason I
Dude, you gotta
started,
check that movie out.
I probably will.
Like legitimately as like a horror movie. Like it's not even a like, oh, YouTube in the moment you need to be part of the zeitgeist thing. I think it is a legitimately good movie. I don't know, like well made movie, and I think that like Chewie is always worth watching. I think there's a lot of really good stuff in it. It's a little, it gets a little like kind of this is beyond me. This feels like this is referencing something I'm not part of, because it is. Right. Right. It is referencing a lot
Fair,
of stuff.
that's fair.
So like, I'm not going to say that's not there, but I think in general, I mean, like, I would tell you to sit down with like Dale and your mom to watch it. It's scary though, but like, yeah, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, Backrooms is probably going to be an at-home movie. Like I understand that, and I've come to full terms with that. Where like right now, I really want to see Power Ballad because it's John Carney, right? Like we're approaching our 500th episode, which started with us talking about Sing Street, and John Carney has a movie in theaters again, which is just like, oh, okay, cool. Like that's it. I want to see Scary Movie 6. I do, as somebody who like saw the first two in theaters and then never saw another one in theaters. Like, which is sad because I liked the third one a lot. Even though it's a step away from what it was.
All this is telling me that you need to see the new one.
Yeah. Well,
everything that you're saying in this moment is like, yep, you definitely need to see Scary Movie 6.
Like it is fully planned to happen this week. Right? I got 2 cheap movie days that I can make it happen. And this is the week when I can do it. So I will probably see that one, but I do want to see Power Ballad. As much as like I kind of want to see Toy Story 5 coming out on Friday. I want to see the new Robin Hood movie because I love some Wolverine there, Hugh Jackman. There's something else.
I mean, the second movie in so many months too, right? Yeah. Like he just had the big hit with The Sheep Detective, the sleeper hit, I would say. I thought it was going to be fun for me, but I'm so happy to hear that everybody else enjoyed it too.
Yeah, the Sheep Detectives was, and then the other really good thing is that like He-Man's in it. Prince Adam is in the Sheep Detective, so that was kind of cool too. I'm not gonna lie.
That warms my heart a little bit because it means that he's not gonna get lost in obscurity to this He-Man movie not working. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Like, although I say that, but like last time it had like the likes of like Dolph Lundgren and
Courtney Cox.
Lee. What was the Skeletor's name there?
Oh, Frank Langella.
Frank Langella, yes, exactly. Falling into a pit at the end. The worst character anyway, sorry. Anyway.
Falling into a pit, but also just like kicking ass. He's having so much fun.
No, he's so movie. Good the rest of the movie. Like,
he really
and then
he
gets defeated. He doesn't get defeated by He-Man. He gets defeated by walking backwards. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, he lives. I don't know. We're watching that one. Like, I really wanted to. I was so torn by like showing the original to Dale before watching the new one with her. And then I'm like, we're going to let her do this completely blind. Like, because we watched the first half of Revelations. So she knew some of the characters. But it really was like a situation of, I'm going to let you see a Masters of the Universe movie before we watch the Dolph Lundgren one. Because, like, that was a movie my dad really liked. Like, I remember the Saturday that it was on HBO, and he's like, I hope you don't have anything to do because we're watching fucking the He-Man movie.
I mean, you want to talk about fucking slop, right? Like, the idea that this was a movie based on a TV show that was only created to sell toys, and it's beloved now. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about the artistic merits of it at all because we're so far past it that it doesn't need to have artistic merit for me to admit that, nope, that's a movie people are going to remember for the rest of forever, right? And like, what is that movie right now? What is that movie that is of the moment, a little cheap, but at the same time it is so enchanting and so earnest in what it's trying to do? Like, what is that movie right now? And I don't think that we've had that for a long time.
We don't allow it. We like straight up, we don't allow it. The entire economy thing that I was talking about is that we don't allow those type of things to exist anymore because of the fear of lack of profitability.
Yeah.
Which this seems like a pretty solid. Back when I thought we were recording last week, I had started a pretty hefty endeavor, which was to examine the first year of the Nintendo Switch 2 and decide if it was a success or a failure. TLDR, it's a failure. I think that the Switch 2 had a very difficult first year. And part of that is that, like, there's nothing on the Switch 2 that drives you to get the Switch 2. And that's an issue considering what worked about the Switch was there was something for everybody in that first year. But I'm glad that we got to wait, because I imagine that you dealt with or experienced at least a modicum of this week's Nintendo Direct, right, Sejohn?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, 100%. I do want to say, before we go too much further, I challenge you to go back and listen to some of those early episodes of the Say Report when we were talking about the Switch being out and about how disappointed we felt some of the early games of that system were as well. I'm not saying it's nearly on the same level with what you're saying now, but I think you may be looking back with rose-tinted glasses a little bit in a way.
So the nice thing about the Switch, though, you're not wrong. We definitely had some questions about it. The fact that Nintendo released a Nintendo game, right? Like a licensed by Nintendo game, every month that first year of the Nintendo Switch meant that you never really got to sit in that disappointment.
Yeah.
And in that first year, the fact that we got a brand new Zelda game and a brand new Mario 3D game was huge. Like the Switch 2, the real marketing drive behind it felt like Nintendo was saying people are done with their Switches. They need to get something to keep them playing their Switch. So we'll do the Switch 2. It'll have all these extra bells and whistles, and we'll have some exclusives for it. And straight up, that just was not the case. And it's because they took some cost-cutting measures with the Switch 2. The fact that it's not an OLED screen, where the Nintendo Switch kind of became synonymous with being an OLED handheld, based upon the mid-revision that released, was a mistake. But by going LCD, it meant that they could make sure anybody who wanted the Nintendo Switch 2 could get a Nintendo Switch 2. Talking about a brand new Zelda game, that the Breath of the Wild was cross-platform, right? It released on the Wii U, so that all those people who got a Wii U because Nintendo was like, trust me, bro, the new Zelda is coming out on the Wii U, didn't burn down the Nintendo factory. That's the thing. But then, once that happened, Switch pretty much became the only thing they were producing games for. It's not this weird hybridization where games are coming out for both Switch and the Switch 2. Right? Something that fully marks the 9th generation of consoles. The
GameCube to Wii, or what do you? Where do you?
No.
More PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3 is what I would say, but
but the 9th generation, the current generation of of consoles, right? The fact that PlayStation 5 exclusives were such a rarity because it was so difficult for people to get their hands on a PlayStation 5. Sony had to be like, if we can release it on PS4, we should release it on PS4. And then you have a better experience if you're playing it on a PS5. These cross-generational things. The same thing, not only Xbox with Xbox One game and Xbox Series game, the fact that they had the low-end Series S and the high-end Series X, and games had to be compatible with both of those SKUs, meant that most games were basically developed for underpowered hardware, and you'd get a little boost if you were playing on the 1.5 times more expensive console, right? It's just, there's so little in the Switch 2 that requires you to get a Switch 2. Donkey Kong Bonanza, Mario Kart World, Age of Imprisonment Hyrule Warriors, Kirby Air Riders, Pokopia, and Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. Oh, there's also the Murder Ball game. The one where you're in the wheelchairs playing basketball. I don't know what that one is called. Push Pull or something? But those are, and I guess you have Welcome Tour, which, if it's a game or not, your mileage is going to vary on that. Because it's kind of like a tech demo. But that's 7 things for the year that are exclusive exclusive to the Switch 2 that come from that were released by Nintendo. And most of the other stuff, like the third-party stuff, is available on other systems. And systems that are still, like, technically better than a Nintendo Switch 2. So it's just, the justification is very difficult to make. Do I have Star Fox pre-ordered? I do. Right? Like, next week I'm going to be playing Star Fox. And the only reason I have it pre-ordered is because I was able to get a physical copy for the $10 less by pre-ordering it. Right? And that is weirdly, like, enough for me. I played the demo of Star Fox, and I don't love some of the changes that they've made to the game in terms of, like, the writing and the way that the characters interact or are characterized. Like, it really is not just a remake of Star Fox 64, but a full-on reimagining of the characters and their dynamics.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
I was reminded the other day of the Star Fox, was it a Game Boy Advance game or Game Boy DS, where you got to record the voice lines for the characters?
Yeah, it was the DS one. I don't remember the name of it.
And then it would play them back to you, and oh my god, there were so many good, like, there were so many good things you could do. I mean, like, obviously, yes, reading the line and doing different voices for each character and all that shit was fun. But then also at, like, some point, you just started doing random shit. Like, Ribby, for me, would only, like, talk in, like...
His name is Slippy. Ribby is a better name, though. Who's Ribby? Slippy? Are you talking about the frog?
It's Slippy.
Okay. No, I just want to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. Star Fox Command was that one. That was one of those weird games that, like, everybody played because it came out. I think it was less expensive than most other games. It was like a tower defense game, too. Like, in terms of a Star Fox game, it was real-time strategy. It was not, like, space combat. And
right.
A bunch of people, because, like, it was that weird little moment between where, like, everybody kind of had a handheld because we didn't have iPhones yet. And the DS, with, like, its form factor, meant it was super easy to travel with. So people would have that on them all the time. I remember so many people, like, just playing Star Fox Command while we were in school together. And they're just all right, cool.
It was one of the few Star Fox sequels I ever touched. Besides the Super Nintendo Star Fox, I that was really the only other one. I never played 2, and I never played 64.
Yeah. Well, 2, you would have only been able to play, like, the weird half-complete ROM up until the actual release. Was that, like, 2016 that they did that as part of the SNES Classic? I know it's available now. And Star Fox 2... really, like, betrays Star Fox Command, because that one's also got a lot of real-time strategy in it. Yeah. Which is fine. Yeah. Like, I'm not complaining about it, but it's what that... Like, Star Fox has always been of many genres. I don't know. And I'm excited. I'm like, I kind of want to play it again. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. But I do like that the new Star Fox game is a Switch 2 exclusive. While I think that this Nintendo Direct probably should have given us just a little bit more about the Ocarina of Time remake, because essentially all they did was confirm a rumor that was actually just the worst kept secret in the industry. Like, people who worked at Nintendo were like, oh yeah, we're remaking Ocarina of Time. Why wouldn't we be doing that for the 40th anniversary of Zelda? Like, those were things that, like, were said by people. Like...
Yeah, I mean, at least it was a little bit of, like, a wipe your brow, like, phew moment, because, like, really felt like they just weren't going to do shit.
I mean, it was kind of like, it was I think it was probably the worst Nintendo Direct since I've started, like, making sure that I'm there when they're announced.
Since the last Nintendo
Direct? Since the last one, right? That's a good point. I don't know, I'm, like, kind of excited about Final Fantasy 2D HD in Final Fantasy Resonance. And while it's a new story, though, it's a lot of asset borrowing from, like, Final Fantasy World, or God, I don't remember it. The one that was, like, the mobile game. It's a lot of assets from the mobile game being reused. Revelation. No, that's the
Interesting.
new game. It's called Revelations. But I'm excited for a new Final Fantasy story. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna buy Elliot the Millennium Tale. Like, I'm very excited to play that this coming weekend. Right? I got Friday off, and I'm gonna be playing Elliot the Millennium Tale because it's like Zelda, and I like Zelda. Kinda. I don't know. And I finished Pragmata, kinda. Because you finish Pragmata, and then it's like, oh, there's extra content right before the final boss. Go back in and play it. Do a New Game Plus run. And I'm like, oh, these seem fun. But, I'm trying 100% Mina, even though, like, that game, I've just soured on that game more and more every time I play it. Talk about diminishing returns. I did watch the speed run this morning, though. Guy beat the game in an hour and 9 minutes. And I'm kind of... here's the thing. Let's get Sejohn's opinion. Let's get Sejohn Sarowick's opinion. There is some movement tech in the game using the fishing rod. Like, you want to talk about slop, right? Like this is the thing. Mina the Hollower is literally just Shovel Knight with a different coat of paint. Like, I think one of the things that really bothers me about it is that it just confirmed for me that Yacht Club has, like, one idea for a game, and that's the thing. Because they're still fishing. They're still digging. A lot of the, like, sidearms are just sidearms and accessories that you used in the Shovel Knight games. Like, it's just, like... you're not creating a lot of new territory. You're just kind of revisiting territory from a different angle, for whatever that means. Like that's just where I'm at. So there's a fishing rod that you can get, and people use it to, like, sequence break parts of the game. Because if you, like, grab onto enemies, it acts sort of like a hook shot in so many ways. And it allows for huge skips in the game. And right now, the community is hyper divided on whether or not it should be allowed in speedruns. More than likely, it will be, like, separate categories. Like, there'll be any percent no fishing rod skips. But, like, how do you feel about that? As somebody who's, like, tangentially connected to the speedrun world.
I mean, we've talked about my basic feelings on the speedrunning stuff before. Yeah. Like, I am on board as far as it makes artistically as much sense, right? Like, when you're saying, like, hey, this game technically, I just finished playing Arkham Origins, right? And the main story of that particular Batman game it only takes about 5 hours. There's like 80% more game beyond that, because there's, like, all the Riddler shit and all the other baddies and all that. But like, if you just wanted to sit down and play the main game, right? And the big thing about that game is it takes place on Christmas Eve, and the entire thing is, like, there's a moment at which the clock chimes, and, like, and Alfred says happy birthday. You're not Jesus. He says Merry Christmas, Mr. Wayne. That kind of shit. Like there's this constant feeling that you are, like, trying to get this shit done tonight, and by having a 2-hour kind of main campaign, like, that feels pretty good. And somebody that's really good at Batman, right, and specifically the Arkham games, can get through that in like a really kind of almost real time thing. That is cool to me. I am so on board for that.
Sejohn, thank you for what I'm doing Christmas Eve 2026. I think I'm going to do it in real time. That sounds awesome. Continue. Sorry.
Right. But that's just it, right? Is like if you're doing something that is either very impressive, like, hey, you're going to run the game and you're going to basically, you're going to beat every boss with the fishing net, like that kind of shit. Like, I'm on board for that kind of silly shit. I'm on board for any of this kind of stuff until you start just breaking to the game to the point where you're not engaging with it any longer. Like, if you can walk out of a wall and then just walk up to a boss and then just, like, one shot it, like, that's not fun anymore. Like, good for you. You've broken the game to the point where you're not playing it any longer. That's kind of a bummer to me.
Yeah, like, there's an out of bounds.
And I think that the fishing rod hack,
yeah,
just to kind of, like, specifically on what you've described so far, it sounds like something that if you're able to do it, you're able to do it. Like, I understand that it might sequence break the game in certain ways, but like this feels very much like an in character thing that they can do with a weapon that I guess Yacht Club didn't account for. I mean, which was the big fear with this game, right? It was like they were putting so many different little tweaks and conceits into this game that it was going to make it like it was going to make it impossible for them to account for every variable. And here we are,
Oh
right?
my God. The build of the game, spoilers for Mina the Hollower, there's a trinket called the Jewel Syringe. Jewels are what you use, Joule, are what you use to use the sidearms. And basically, when you use your sidearms, you get back health, is how it works while you have that on. And, no. While you use it, it gives you, I'm not, like, the Jewel Syringe basically allows you to continue to use your sidearms when you're out of, like, sidearm ammo. Instead, it uses your health. But then there is a sidearm called the Mist Jar that allows you to regain health while you go through enemies. And the cost to use the Mist Jar once you have no more ammo is less than the health that it recovers. So essentially, if you can like run to that Jewel Syringe using the Mist Jar, you will never take damage again. Like, as you're about to die, you just keep attacking and you'll just get all your health back. And it costs you nothing. Wow. Like, it is such a broken, it's such a way that the game is broken, and I'm just so fearful that they're gonna fix it, because they're fixing the game. Like, I think there's been a new revision on Steam every single day since the game came out. And granted, it's because of what you just said. People were like, they're futzing with it, they keep working on it, so there are going to be those unintended consequences. And I'm just so nervous that, like, that's going to go away, because it's kind of such a big part of what the game is now, because that tech was, like, found out very early in the game, right, from the type of people who test that type of thing. And, like, that speedrun I watched this morning, like, it does not beeline to get the Jewel Syringe. Like, you beat 3 dungeons before you get it, but then once it has it, like, the rest of the stuff, really takes advantage of it. Like, it's pretty much the fishing rod until you get the Jewel Syringe. No, because then you use the fishing rod to skip through the 4th dungeon. Because, like, it's one of those ones where you have to go through the dungeon and then you fall, like, on the other side of a wall where the boss is. But, like, with the fishing rod, you could skip over that wall. And that's, like, one of the biggest RNG moments in the game. Because, like, a fish has to spawn in the water there. And you have to be able to catch that fish twice. You have to pull it out of the water, and then before it goes back in the water, catch it with the fishing pole again, and that allows you to traverse over the wall. So, like, there's actually some real skill that's required from it. And I think that's, like, why would you eliminate this from being something that can be done in the speed run? Like, please.
I mean, I think that I don't know much about, like, the narrative or anything like that, but I also think that, like, again, this is all happening, like, in universe in a way, you know? Like, it doesn't sound like you're saying, like, they're going in and, like, recoding the game so that, like, their player speed is a little bit faster, that kind of shit. Or, like, they're not walking out of the bounds of a level, or they're not finding their way to a weapon that was maybe not intended to be in it, you know? Like, I mean, I've told the oh God, what is it? The Diablo story before, right? And about how I basically I can't play Diablo anymore. Yeah, because, like, some asshole dropped a mega sword on me that, like, instantly made me OP, and so the game became meaningless. And I've never gone back to a Diablo game since.
I'm familiar with that story. It's like, there is an out of bounds category that, like, is, I think it's under 10 minutes now to, like, walk out of bounds and then walk up to the final boss. Now, that one, again, it's still technically impressive that you're beating the boss at a very low level. I don't think it's level 1, but it is still like a very low level clear of the game. And that on some level is impressive. But again, I don't want that to be the end all be all of this speed run. But I think that like to eliminate this usage of in a game that like a lot of the people that I've discussed Mina with, the complaint seems to be that like movement is always based on the items that you have. Like you can collect a trinket that allows you to like dig in the walls, or that allows you to spin and get like an extra bit of jump, or that allows you to air dash. But rather than those being like upgrades that you earn while you're playing the game, they're trinkets that you find, and then you only have like a set movement like toolkit based upon how many trinkets you can equip at any time. And that caps out at 6. So like you can't have all of the movement tech on Mina to make her like the type of character who can just rush through areas. Like you never get that God moment that you talk about in games. Where like this was so difficult that first time, and now while I return here and I have like a double jump and I have the ability to like charge my attack, I'm not afraid of anything anymore. That just like doesn't happen because Mina is always malleable. Which on some level is good, but on another level, it takes away that power fantasy dynamic that is a big part of gaming for a lot of people.
I mean, you know, we literally play a game so that we can be in control.
Right.
It is the one part of gaming that is like psychologically like the most important, right? Is the idea that like when people play games, they play them because they like to feel like they can at least control this thing in their life, right? And that's like, you know, that's a very like over the top way of expressing it, but like that is the concept, right? And then we build from there, you know, like we talk about the idea of like dopamine hits and people being happy and feeling satisfied as they play a game. So it's not just like, hey, I'm in control, but also, hey, I'm in control and I'm good at it, right? Like is the next step, right? And so like if the game is never evolving in that way or not getting much beyond that, it seems kind of boring, to be honest.
I mean, I don't disagree. I think that you hit the nail on the head there. And I think the game like I said to somebody, I'm like, the game feels unfocused. And the response was, well, that's because you have to bring the focus. And it's like, yeah, I'm a little tired of that. I'm a little tired of being the one who has to focus up games that feel like they don't have like a focused path for me to follow. Like, even, like, Far Cry games, like, I'm going to find the towers so that then I have things to do. Just dropping me in an open world and being like, you can go anywhere. Okay, but, like, maybe a little bit of guidance? Maybe, like...
You're actually... It's funny that you say that because I'm experiencing that exact thing with Arkham Origins now. As I said, I kind of just went bang through the story. Just to kind of just get the game going, and you know, and you unlock a bunch of upgrades and stuff. So I thought like I'll do the story for at least a bit. But once I finished it and credits rolled, I still had 80% of the game left to play, and without having kind of that driving narrative, you know, a couple of the side missions and I say side missions, but again, they make up the bulk of the fucking game. Like some of them have some pretty good stories, like the Penguin stuff is really interesting, and the Anarchy stuff is really interesting, but like some of it is just interstitial nonsense, like jokes from the Riddler and shit like that. Like I don't really, there's not much I'm gaining in the current playing of, and I think this is exactly what happened to me the last time I played Arkham Origins, is that I never really 100% of that game, and it's the only Arkham game I've never 100%ed. Not counting Suicide Squad. I don't know how you do that math these days, but like out of the Arkham story, and you know, it is also kind of the bastard stepchild of the Arkham universe, but it does make an effort to be part of that universe, whether or not that universe accepts it or not. So like in that realm, it's the only one that I've never 100%ed in any fashion, and I thought maybe this time would be it, but I'm thinking now maybe it won't, because like I just, now that the story's over, I don't have that drive to keep going forward, you know?
I mean, I'm experiencing that with Pragmata. Like, I was really into it, and such a big part of that game before I finished it was making sure that I 100% the other areas in the game once, like, Deanna had her full, like, power set unlocked so I could explore everything. But then to complete the game and then be told, okay, so we added an extra mission before the final boss fight, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I've seen the end of the game. Like, I don't, like, I'm not like excited to jump back into you. Like, and it was kind of nice. Like, I don't know if you're going to play some spoilers for it, right? It has a bit of a down ending, right? Like, you learn some stuff that's like sad. And I feel like going back to do the secondary part of the game is going to undo that part of like, this was a sad ending.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like, I just like, am I interested in that? Like, or did I like the story as it lies? Like, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Gaming is a weird thing, and it's something that like I can admit that I sort of fell off of a little bit over the past couple of years. And part of it is just like this lack of focus, right? Sort of the slop, right? Like these games, they're like, people want big open worlds. And then, no, we don't need the worlds to get bigger and bigger. We need the focus to get sharper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, you know, the bigger thing that I would point to in terms of like slop, like, you know, currently, what was the name of that new Pal World ripoff, which in and of itself was borrowing heavily from Pokemon, right? Like, but there was one that just came out that like it was so blatantly stealing not just from Pal World and from Pokemon, but also had like World of Warcraft assets clearly in it and things like that. All right, but it was coming out and people were so excited because it was like Pal World, it's Pokemon, but not Nintendo. So that alone is enough to where it gets my money. Is just like a wild way to go about your day, but okay. But like it was a thing where like people were starting to like pre-order this game, while meanwhile every comment on it was just like, this is nothing. This game is nothing. It goes nowhere. There's no ending. From like anybody that's played it for 2 seconds can tell you that this game is not worth it. And like people didn't care. They were still putting money in. That is like the indication of like slop, right? Whereas like Nina, like I appreciate that you're not enjoying your time with it. And as I said, it sounds to me like it would probably not be my bag either. You know, if it ever drops to like $5, I'll probably pick it up, but I'm not in any rush to grab it. And like I think that there is definitely some thought behind what they're doing and some attempt. Trying and failing is fine with me. Like, try something though. That's the thing. For me, it's not slop if they're trying something. And I think that no matter what, I do think Yacht Club is trying. It just sounds like they're not succeeding, which is a bummer.
Yeah, and they're not succeeding for me.
Defend them in some way.
Yeah, like they succeeded for themselves.
Like that's as far as I know, that game is doing gangbusters. So,
yeah. I mean, the thing that I really enjoy with it is like watching people do bingos of that game has been a lot of fun. But like,
now what is that?
So a bingo, essentially you like go online and they have them for all sorts of games where like a bingo card is generated and it'll be things like activate 3 spark generators or collect 4 items of this type in this biome. Be the first one to get this trinket. Defeat this boss, defeat a mini boss with this specific weapon, like that. Those type of things. Those are the squares on the bingo card, and you try to get a line as fast as possible. And what I've been watching has been a lot of blackouts. So like, say you and I were playing, and it's like beat a mini boss using the whip weapon, right? If you were able to beat a mini boss with the whip weapon before I did it, you would click that. I would see that you got it. I can no longer get that. And if it comes out to like we've blocked any lines from happening, the winner is the first person to get 13 of the 25 squares, because that's more than half.
Right.
And like, because I've done bingos for like Link to the Past Randomizer, I've done bingos for Super Metroid. They're fun. Like, it's a fun way where like I want to kind of play the game and test my knowledge of it without speed running it. I actually think we're going to do a Super Mario 64 bingo, me and a couple of friends.
I was going to say,
like,
that's awesome. You and I should do a multi-stream say a report one of something like like fucking Super Mario World or no man.
Yeah, we should look into it and discuss it.
Well, no, you'd kick my ass at Zelda, but
no, it'd be something else. And we can also figure out ways to handicap it. Honestly, Super Mario 64 I think is that sweet spot because I have enough knowledge to be like kind of dangerous, but I do not have I've not played a lot of that game. I have beaten Super Mario 64 4 times in my lifetime. And I know that like might be more than some people, but like I beat it when I got it in 1997, right? Because I didn't get it in 96 when it came out. I beat it that summer I worked in Block Island on that horror movie, and what they had in the crew house was Super Mario 64 and a Nintendo 64, so we could like entertain ourselves. I beat it on the DS, the Super Mario like 64 DS remake, which is completely different because of the inclusion of Wario and Luigi and Yoshi, and 30 more stars that just do not exist in the other game, and huge changes to how the game functions. And I beat the PC port to like put it through its paces before Nintendo. Remember Nintendo? We said they would cease and desist games before they cease and desisted the PC port of Super Mario 64. I like beat it with 120 stars. But if you were to ask me, like, if you were to give me a course number and ask me what, like, the 4th star is, I don't think I could do that. Like, straight up, maybe for Bomb Battlefield is the only one that I could do that for.
Right.
Because I think it's the 8 red coins one, is that one. But it's not something that...
the real OGs measure their time in Super Mario 64 by how many times they threw that fucking penguin off the edge.
Yeah, that's true. The real OGs know how to do the never-ending stairs, like backwards wall jump maneuver.
Backwards jump? Yeah. The
real OGs have beaten that game with no stars.
And that is not us.
That's not going to be me. So, like, I feel like that might be one where... And it's something that we're going to test out. But, like, bingos of Mina, where, like, the idea that game is so big and that you can go anywhere. So, like, you have your objectives that you have to go complete. And you have to, like, think about the person you're playing against, what they're going to prioritize. You need to, like, be conscious of what they're doing. You need to do the math in your head of, should I try to block the bingo that they're going for? Like, they have 3 squares in a row. Should I try to block one of those other 2 squares? Or should I focus on getting the 3 additional squares I need that get me a bingo?
Battle bingo.
Like, it's, like, it really, like, that has enriched my viewing of Mina the Hollower. I think the other problem with Mina the Hollower, and this is, and again, you have all the modifiers and things like that, so there are modifiers that fix this problem, but even though you can go in any direction with Mina the Hollower, like you could start at the center of the game, which is Osex, the main town, and you can go in any direction and find something to do. The issue is that once you're committed to a path, like, I don't know if it's sunk cost fallacy, I don't know if it's lack of shortcuts to, like, go back. Like, if you find yourself overwhelmed, like, it's not worth it to try to turn around and backtrack to the center of the map and try something else. Like, something like Elden Ring.
Better off banging your head against the wall.
Yeah. Something like Elden Ring, which is another huge world, if you get to a point where you're like, I'm overwhelmed, any of the save points allow you to like fast travel back to the beginning of the game.
You heard it here, folks. Devon's review of Mina the Hollower harder than Elden Ring.
I finished Mina. I've never finished Elden Ring. So take whatever that is. But it's an interesting thing. Because, like, I've watched a streamer, like, play Mina the Hollower, and he's gone to the swamp area twice. And he's gotten to a dead end and, like, not known how to progress. And then I've watched him backtrack back to the middle of the game. But it's like, but that's the next logical place for you to be. Based on the movement kit you have and trinkets you have, finishing the swamp is what you have to do. And the fact that, like, you walked away from it, and now in order to progress, you'll have to walk back and retrace your steps, and there is no, like, fast way to get back to where you got caught, that just seems absurd to me.
Yeah, that seems like that sucks. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just seems like disparate to other modern gaming stuff. We have been talking, I mean, like, we could keep talking. That's the point of the show, but I think that we're kind of going a little bit in circles. So is there anything else that you want to, like, finish up or make sure we mention in this episode before we depart and leave this one to William to wrap up?
No, man. Just, I've been, like I said, just falling down the rabbit hole on some stuff this, like, in terms of games that are coming out that everybody's playing at the moment that I'm like, I don't know if I want to engage right now. So I'm just kind of in a weird spot. So not really much more to share because I've been kind of avoiding it.
Yeah, I get it. Trust me, I get it. I kind of want to play the new James Bond game because everybody's losing their mind over it. But I think I've heard
it's a nice tight 20 is what everybody's been saying. It's a really good, like, short action game, which we haven't had in a long time.
We haven't had a good one of those in a while because every short action game is a 200-hour open world experience. And to find those 20 hours of, like, tight story, you have to wade through, like, 2-3 hours before you get to one of those again.
Or the TV show being made by Amazon.
Yeah. All right. Well, so yeah, I think that's good. This was a good one. Thanks for letting us be a little dark and a little complainy. We got good stuff coming. I'm going to say that. But until then, if you want to keep the conversation going, you can join our Discord. Invitation to join are available wherever we are on social media, which as of this recording is still Facebook and X, formerly Twitter. Navigate to the bio section. There'll be a link you can click on. Will allow you to join our Discord. If you're not on social media, which is something that neither one of us could fault you for, you can contact us directly, thesayreport@gmail.com. We can facilitate you with an invitation to join the Discord. Or if Discord is too much like social media for you, and it seems to become increasingly more and more like that every day, so we understand that as well. We'll just communicate via email, thesayreport@gmail.com. Just send us your hopes and dreams. Most important thing is that for him, if it's for him, Sejohn Sarowick, or me, Devon Decker, just make sure you put our first name in the subject line and we'll distribute it appropriately. But remember, if you write something to one of us that we think should be talked about on the show, we're going to bring it to the show, right? Anything that is submitted to us is open to, like, being used as part of the content creation that is the Say Report. Just keep that in mind. And honestly, keep that in mind for anything that you're putting on the internet, right?
Yeah, we're going to feed it to our AI machine and produce new questions directly from you.
I love it. I love it because we all tied it together. That said, thank you so much for joining us again for this episode of the Say Report. We will see you next week for another episode that's hopefully a little bit more optimistic. And without further ado, William, please bring us home. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Sejohn Sarowick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.